Everybody, it's me, Lynn Rene MacDonald, and tonight we're starting off our new show. It's Friday nights at 7:15. It is called 6 and 12 Medical Intuitive. Again, 6 and 12 Medical Intuitive. And tonight's show, it's our first show tonight that we're going to do. So we're going to give everybody a few minutes to get on up here if they're coming. I know it's Friday night and a lot of people are probably out because it's Friday night, but it's awful chilly out there too. It's been cold here in Virginia Beach for days. And it's pretty quiet here because we've all had some kind of ailment going on, like a cold flu kind of thing going on here. So we told a lot of our people not to come in person because we don't want to make anybody else sick, right? So tonight's show, again, is 6 and 12 Medical Intuitive. What does that mean? 6th house and the 12th house in astrology, right? Because the 12th house is about your past, all right, and everything God, and the 6th house is about your health here in Earth World, okay? So it's called 6 and 12 Medical Intuitive, and this show is designed to help you with your medical intuitive questions, get to the God's honest truth in any way, shape, or form that has to do with your health, right? It could be your mental health, it could be addiction, it could be behavioral, it can be your pet's behavioral, it could be your brother and his wife and what's going on there. Excuse me. In terms of their relationship and why is it so toxic, right? Because everything metaphysical is physical. So tonight's show is going to run 7:15 to 8:15. It isn't going to be as long as our normal Sunday night shows. However, it's going to be a great show, and it's designed so you can call in and ask whatever questions, that you want to know, and to give you the best guidance and assistance from highest knowing of God or love to help you be your healthiest you in all ways, right? So, excuse me, I might be making some crazy sinus kind of noises tonight because like I said, I didn't want to disappoint anybody and not show up, right? Because we had planned to do last Friday, but it's been so chaotic with Uranus and all. It's been like nuts. So I didn't want to disappoint anybody. So we have a little bit of a cold going on. So just bear with us with my scratchy throat and everything, right? Because we're working on getting better. But we wanted to do the show because it's super important that people learn the truth about health, and that health is not in the world, the way that we think as people, right? So what does this mean? Especially today in this world, what's happening is the healthcare market is really falling apart. What we're looking at for the future is critical care and meds that you're going to use only if you absolutely need to on that kind of basis, right? Plus, you're looking at a revamping of the whole medical system, critical care, truth of healers, homeopathic, all this stuff is going to be coming in, because even homeopathic healers are not in their heart spaces, not all of them, right? So you have to pick and choose who you're going to go to and who you're going to work with God or love, right? Through God or love, right? So what do? Ask and you shall receive, which is the same stuff we teach on the live talk forum every Sunday night at 7:15, right? That's about an hour, 45-minute, 2-hour show on Sunday nights, which most of you already know about, okay? So tonight we're going to do the medical intuitive to help you get to the bottom of the truth of all that is health, right? In all ways, right? So like last week on the live talk forum, we talked about how not being in your heart and can be very, very toxic for you, and that we're all going into new heart spaces, into the new world. So tonight we're going to talk about the medical intuitive stuff. We have our first question here from somebody who called into the shop, and if you guys can call into the Shoppe and Center, because normally you could come in here, but tonight we're kind of like only have like our main like skeleton crew really, so that we don't make more people sick, So we kind of told people don't come. We canceled class last night at our regular class hours in our regular Shoppe and Center, right? Or away from outside of the show here. So tonight's the first night. Thank you all for coming. You can donate energetically or financially, however you feel. Share our stuff so that we can help people. This is the whole main purpose is here is to get to the God's honest truth of all that is love and your best healthcare solutions for you from higher knowing, okay? This includes working with astrology and all the formulas that is God or love, as well as earth world tools like cell salt, vitamins, minerals, herbs, diet, exercise, including sometimes, even just guidance and direction for what you're doing in your life that is making you even more sick that you might not even think of, Like I had one woman saying, my God, my back hurts me all the time and I don't even know why and I can't get my back to stop. And then universe said to me, well, you're driving all the time and you're driving too much. So you need to change what you're doing to help your back, right? So these are some of the things that people don't think of as health solutions, but they absolutely are, right? It's like repetitive motion over and over and over. And then we get carpal tunnel, right? The old world sayings of carpal tunnel, right? And then we're like, we don't know why that happened. And it's just my tendons are crappy. Well, not really, right? And then what vitamins, minerals, herbs, and things are you missing or your body not getting, right? And now we have the COVID-19 shot, the shot shedding, whatever you believe. The bottom line is tons of toxins are out there and they're making everybody sick, whatever it is, whether it's mold, colds, your traditional colds and viruses, right? Your whether you got the shot or not, and vac shedding, all of this stuff, all of it is just layers and layers of layers, all right, of stuff that is not helping your immune system. And the more taxed your immune system is, the more the symptoms, the more sick you're going to become. And unfortunately, or you could say fortunately, this is going to be the new world. And the good news about this is that this is what brings the show to you, is that it's being governed by higher knowing to help everybody to see healthcare in a different light, to give you solutions in a different way, because the earth world old ways solutions are no longer working anymore. And if you're wondering why you're sick all the fucking time or don't feel good all the fucking time, here's why. Because your body is overloaded with these toxins, whether you're eating plastics, you're eating sugars, you're eating wheats. But most of the time, believe it or not, if you're not eating too much of something, it's the toxins or something else that's going on in your body and in the food and the things that you're eating that you are having a reaction to, and that's because your immune system is lower. So you're going to learn so much more new and neat and amazing things, all state-of-the-art information and stuff designed to help you on our new program here tonight. And into the future, our plan is to do every Friday night, 7:15. Bring your questions, and we're going to rock it, and we're going to change healthcare for the new world as you know it, right? And we're going to use all kinds of natural meds and everything guided by love in the purest form. And sometimes you will have to go to the doctor, but what do? You ask God for the best doctor. You ask God for everything. You create everything from love. You ask love, right? Okay, so that's basically my introduction for today. Okay, so thank you all for coming. And if we could just begin with our first question, I'm ready when you guys are.
All right, the first question is from Birdie.
Okay, Birdie.
Yep.
Go ahead.
She wants you to know that she loves all your classes and the Sunday Night Lives, and she thinks you're the best.
Thank you, Birdie. I love you too.
All right, she says that she's had some issues going on for a while now. She says probably a couple of years, where every few months she hurts her hip and she's barely able to move for days. And when this happens, it's because of the smallest movement. It's so strange because she's never really hurt her hip in the past or had any big injuries. Recently, though, in the past few days, she said that she's come down with some flu-like symptoms, and she's noticed that her hip has been acting up again. Mm-hmm. Do you think you could help her with this, let her know what's going on?
Absolutely. All right, Birdie, I love you, girl, and I happen to know your situation personally, but the very first thing that comes in for you that will start to help you right away is movement. So what universe is telling me, God is telling me, love is telling me, stretching will help you a lot, moving around. Doesn't have to be any heavy exercise to start especially, but just moving, being flexible, stretching. What would really be good is yoga, forms of stretching. You don't have to do classes with other people, but this will really, really, really help you to loosen up these areas. The other thing that comes in is inflammation for you, right? Breads, pastas, any kind of chemicals, right? Really, really toxic. Inflammation is going to, these things are going to cause more inflammation, all right? Stay away from plastics, right? I already know that you have a bunch of, health things going on, so you have layers built up of toxins in your immune system. So the goal here is to free you from the toxic stuff that's no longer serving you, right? And when you think about your hip metaphysically, these are all the things coming in for you, okay? When you think about your hip metaphysically, all right? Ray, our light went out. We lost our light for a minute here. So we might need a new charger for our light. So a little bit of technical difficulties. But what comes in, all right, is I'm going to just step back because it comes in to detox, right? So the bottom line is you're already doing a detox. We kind of have to step up your detox, but you have to do it gently so you're not overdoing it where your symptoms are going to get worse before you get better. It's like a fine line, right? But if nobody teaches us this stuff, then we don't know how to do these things, and then we wonder why we're detoxing, we're taking vitamins, minerals, and herbs, and or whatever that we're guided to by source or love or God, right? For you personally, right? And you're taking specific ones, and then we wonder why we're still really sick, or we might feel better once in a while, or then we don't feel really good, or we go like into a nosedive and we get even sicker, right? And that's because your body is not going to be working in the way that they have really taught you, or the old world ways anymore, with the new immune systems and what they have done to healthcare and the world today. That's the bottom line. So now we have to be wiser and work with God or love even more and use the best tools for our best health. But I'm going to go back to the metaphysical for this in 1 minute, Birdie, because there's some other stuff that comes in with this. So we got to build up your immune system, but it's kind of like if you start to not feel good, you step back from the detox, you lower the detox, right? So, and we will be revamping your health program for these things when you're ready to, and if you're ready to, right? But the bottom line is we have to address these things because the new world is really an immune system now that is like the 1970s movie, or what was it, in the 90s? Was it 90s it was AIDS, or was it the 80s? Yeah, where you have a compromised immune system, and it is for multiple reasons, but one of the biggest reasons today, it has to do everything to do with the COVID-19 shot and the shot shedding, and then multiple poisons from companies, from tin, from cans, from metals, from plastics, from just toxins, like 1970s they did that DuPont stuff, right? And people don't even realize the crap that's in your food, right? So one of the first places I tell people is look at what you're eating. Same thing for you, Bird. Anything is going to inflame you, right? So where does it go? It goes to the weakest area in your body, okay? Because that's how it works, right? Because I noticed, like with this cold that I got, all the areas that I'm having the roughest times, or the roughest time, right, is all where the inflammation in my weakest parts of my system, right? So that's where I'm going to get super inflamed and my symptoms are going to show up, right? So that's what's happening with you. Now I'm going to bring you back to the metaphysical part, right? And me and you will put together a personal health plan for later, because we have you on one. But we're going to have to change some things in there, right? We're going to change the detox that you're doing. But we are also, and it's not like massive amounts of stuff, because what we don't want to do is overcrowd you and overload you with a bunch of shit, homeopathic or other, that you don't need to do. Because the bottom line is this show has to be practical and easy and healthy, and something that you're going to do for your health, or you're never going to fucking do it. And that's all of us, right? That's why Americans love, I just go to the pill, the old-fashioned way of, I go to the doctor and I get a pill and then I'm all well, like the old world antibiotics, right? But what they missed is, how much of that was toxic. Of course, we know that now, or they know that now, but sometimes you definitely need these tools, absolutely, in modern medicine, or what do you call it? I know there's a word for it. Is it Western world medicine? Yeah, Western world medicine, right? Sometimes you need these tools, right? Absolutely. So here you're going to learn all about love energy that is God, and how to handle everything with your health. And for you, Bird, we're going to revamp your routine, and that's what you have to do. You have to take a look at it. Is it working for you? Why isn't it going away? What's happening? Well, now you have an infection on top of already other infections, right? So, of course, your stuff that's bothering you is going to be even more inflamed, okay? But also, it's time for you to start doing the metaphysical work, because one of the biggest things that's going on, Bird, is there's a reason it's your hip, because you continuously go back and forth out of these spaces where you're not shooting from the hip. And it's not for other people, it's for you. Telling people what you want, speaking up for you, not being able to pivot, not being able to change, getting stuck in ways where you can't speak up for you, move forward, do for you, and tell others what your needs are, right? So that would be one of the reasons, a main reason here comes in from universe or God or love, right, as to why your hip is inflamed. So think about this, people. Anytime you're inflamed, right, think about what the area is, what it does, right? Her hip lets her pivot, shoot from the hip. Think about the sayings that go with this. Everything is metaphysical. So I'm just going to ask, is there anything else for Bird? So we're going to just redo or take a look at all the vitamins, minerals, herbs, and things that you're doing already to increase your health and detox as well. Also, the sugars and anything with chemicals in it, of course, you want to be doing those things least amount as possible. And this is for all of us, basically. All this stuff is going to be great tools for everybody. Also, with the detox, you can use your cell salts, number 4. All right, your homeopathic cell salts, number 4 and number 10 are great for detoxing your blood, for colds, for sickness. They also have a mixed one, which is a bioplasma. I think they call it kind of, I think that's what they call it, the one from Highlands. And that's multiple ones for like when you get a cold and sickness and flu kind of stuff, right? But if nobody doesn't tell us about these things, then we can't use them, right? So if you guys need guidance, then you PM me so that you could get solutions for you in the now. Because not only do you have to know what to take or how to take or what to change and what to do, right? But you also I need to know how long and how much. Because it doesn't matter if you have a medicine if you're not taking it right, or you're not taking enough, right? Or you're not taking it for long enough, right? So the best way to do this is to ask love or ask God for the best solutions, as well as you can come here to get your best solutions, okay? All right, so that's for you, Bird. That's what comes in. We will talk about this in your best health plan later on tonight, as we're going to revamp. And that's the other thing. Your health is something you have to look at, like, just be aware of and be conscious of it for these times. This is why this is happening, because we don't pay attention to our bodies. We don't take care of ourselves. So now we're at a crossroads in our lives, and the whole world is standing there because we don't love ourselves, we don't love our bodies, we don't take care of us, and we always put our needs last. So now we can no longer do that, and this is why we're having this channel, so we can be well and take the best care of us, as well as fight the demons that are coming as people become more and more sick with everything that's going to be coming in the world, right? Because not only do you have your old world sicknesses, but now they're going to be facilitated even more with new, even more bizarre things going on. But with God, the power of God and love, you have all the power. So doing things differently and talking to God is going to even help you more in this day and age than ever before in these crisis times. So Bird, we'll talk to you. So you got to pay attention in the next couple of months. Pay attention to how you're feeling and what's going on, right? There's things called backwards healing, right? What does that mean? It's where you can have something for a really long time, and then your symptoms come in, and you go backwards in your healing. Like you'll find a symptom that you happen to have again that you didn't realize that you hadn't had in a long time, and you remember that symptom. Let's say like ringing in the ears, or hot ears, or pains in your ears, right? Or your neck is bothering you, right? These are all things that is like reverse healing, and that will all of a sudden change as you start to heal you. So these are some of the things you're going to notice. But there's a difference between getting sicker and sicker and sicker, where you're doing the right thing, and when you're not. And this is why you always want to check with God. But your body and your soul will tell you, and your heart will tell you the truth from love, what is going on in your physical health. Thanks, God, for letting me know the truth, the God's honest truth. Am I getting better? Am I not? Is this helping me? Is it not? What should I do? What is the best healthcare solutions for me from love, right? Okay, excuse me. So we're going to take a look at your stuff. Every few months, you should definitely look at what you're taking. Is it really helping you? How are you feeling? The way that you're feeling and being in tune with your body is going to tell you what the truth is of God, of what is happening in you, right, with your health. Because if I'm feeling better, right, excuse me, that's a really good mirror to me starting to become well, right? And If I'm not, or I'm not sure, then I want to monitor that, meaning I want to take a look at it and keep an eye on it, All right, the other thing, Bird, lots of water. Water is super cleansing, preferably alkaline water, so that you can cleanse it out and alkalize as well. In other words, so this will wash out the toxins, help your body hydrate. That's always good. Lots of rest, okay? Lots of rest always. All right, but that's the biggest reasons of things that are going on with you. And we can take a look at your chart as well. I'm just going to ask God here a minute because whatever happens in that 12th house goes with the 6th house. So when you think of hips and bones, right, and ligaments and tendons, what comes in immediately is that Capricorn, right, that Capricorn energy. And that comes in, let me just see here, with this. And what's interesting is your solar return chart has you with the Capricorn rising. So you're really stepping into this Capricorn energy this year in your solar return chart. So your solar return ascending is Capricorn, as we've talked about. And so it would make sense that you'd have problems with like pivotal joint areas in reference to this, like the hip. But also, right, if you're not shooting from the hip, where are you not comfortable telling the truth? That would be a Scorpio house, the placements or metaphysical stuff to look into in Scorpio, right? Scorpio, Pluto, Mars as well, right? Because where you're not telling the truth for you, where you're not seeing the God's honest truth for you, where you're not seeing the truth anywhere in your life, right? Everything having to do with any kind of metaphysical placements in all of your charts or all of your astrology, right? So we can get to the bottom of the metaphysical causes of that. Right? And the first place I would look is in your transits, but also in your solar return, because that's your year ahead for you. So also with this comes in, so Capricorn is now in your first house, the house of you. So where are your, metaphysically speaking, where are your honor, respect, love, code of ethics? Where is your code of ethics distorted? And in your case, because you have a Cancer moon in your natal chart, you're very always caring about others. So this makes total and complete sense to me why you would start to have some deficits, because at some point you got to speak up for you. You got to speak the truth for you. And when you don't, it comes out in your bones. It comes out in your emotional space. You don't feel good about you. And this would be, again, moon is your emotions. It's the mother, right? So, and looking into placements, are you having problems with your mom? Is you have emotional stuff with your mom from past lives you want to take a look at? Because all of these things play a role in your best health. And as you work on these things, you will notice as you go down, let's say 2 or 3 months from now, you're working on your metaphysical stuff, clearing it out, looking in your chart, working on this stuff, right? You're going to notice you need less and less of stuff like this, because you're going to feel better, because the energy will then be released from these areas of your body emotionally and in all ways, because you're doing the work and you ask God to be free of these things, right? So look into these things in your chart, because not only is it the stuff that you need in Earth world, because we are here in Earth world dimension, but it is also the metaphysical. It's super, super powerful. They go hand in hand. It's everything that is God for your best health, right? And that's what the doctors too don't tell you, They don't tell you about this stuff. Oh, it's emotional. Go get a therapist. Well, that's great, but the bottom line is it would be helpful if we had some direction as to what body ailments go with what planets, what houses, what's really going on in your chart, and with your health, and where all these things relate, both physically, metaphysically, emotionally, and in all ways, right? Because the other thing that comes in, which is the second house, right, which is generally, which the traditional ruler of the second house is Taurus. So you have to take a look at Taurus, because Taurus is your self-worth house. So in your self-worth house, where do you feel worthless, not worthy, and where that would create issues for you, where you can't pivot, you can't speak up for you can't change the course. And again, hips, legs, ankles, knees, that's about moving forward. Can't move forward if you can't speak up for you, if you don't love you in the healthiest, best way. And the thing is, we all got this shit going on. It just comes out in different ways because of how many different placements or aspects or uniqueness and things going on in our soul, because we are just as complex as everything that is all that is God, because this is how things truly are and this is how things truly work, right? So we have to look at all these things, and then any aspects made to any of these houses like Venus, Taurus, Libra, and you have a shit ton of Libra placements, which is all about relationships and love, right? But what people think is Libra is all about relationships and love, and that's what Venus is. But the truth is, the biggest relationship that Venus has to do with is self-love. When are you going to love you? When are you going to listen to you? Speak up for you. Feel worthy. Feel like your stuff is good. Love you. Love your body. You see, all these are the reasons we get sick, because we need to address these things and we're not paying attention to it. And so earth world stuff is, will help you for a while. But the truth is, at some point, and this is one of the classic examples is literal, the sickness cancer, right? When people, quote unquote, in earth world, if you believe in cancers in the way that they say in earth world, right? One of the things that would happen is people, you would know a neighbor or somebody, and they would get cancer, and then they would say it was in remission, and they would do chemotherapy, and then it would come back, and then it would come back somewhere else, because the bottom line is they really didn't address it in the healthiest, best way from love, and they didn't address any of the deficits that were going on in the soul, because of course, they didn't know how. Now we're opening doorways into the future, and this is all the areas where healthcare has already been moving to, as well as is going mentally, physically, spiritually, and in all ways, okay? So all these things play a part, and you having these issues with your hip, but also anywhere that you're have inflammation, and these are all areas to look into to change all of this, okay? So I know we've probably spent a lot of time, but this is great because all these tools will help everybody in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so I hope you're good with that, bird. I love you, and we'll catch up later, and thanks. All right, who's next? Jen again?
Yeah, Teresa Courtney Lloyd said she has her 6th house is in Leo, and Taurus is her 12th. And she says that she does all she can to stay healthy. She runs 5 miles a day, lifts weights, and takes a dose of double tincture reishi a day. Do you have any other suggestions according to her signs?
Okay, so when she says, there's a lot going on here, girl. All right, I'd like to take a look at your chart to see more about it, because usually you have more than one house or more than one sign in the house of the 6th and the 12th house, right? So when you say, what did she say? Her 6th house was in Leo, and her, 12th house?
In Taurus.
What?
Taurus is 12.
All right, her Taurus is her 12th house, right? So this is her cusp, is this not?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah. So your cusp is the house, is the sign that the house starts in for you personally, okay? So I'd like to know also what your other signs are in there and what other planets you have going on in there. Okay, because a lot of times, right, we take really great care of ourselves, and we exercise, right, and physically in earth world, and we do all those things, and this is coming in for you. All right, I don't know if I talked to you guys last week. Did I talk to you guys about my uncle? Did I bring up his story? All right, because my uncle was very, and is still here. He's in the hospital and he's really sick. And the reason this is coming in is because it's coming in for you as well as anybody else who happens to have, like you do, Leo, all right, in your 6th house, which is the heart, right? So this is about your heart space. And Taurus, right? All right, Taurus is about nice things. Taurus is about self-worth. Okay, it's the regular 2nd house, but so this goes back lifetimes of stuff that you're doing in the physical earth world. So you're doing what you need to do physically in terms of exercise and doing the best care of taking care of you, right? And my uncle did this all the time. He would swim, he would take care of himself, right? As best as you know how, guided on everything that we've been taught and all of your gifts in your soul. And then on top of that, if you work with God, then you're going to do even better, right? And maybe all from love, right? So what happened with my uncle is I'm going to tell you his story because he's in the hospital now and he's very sick and I love him dearly, okay? And I don't want anything unwell for him. But he very much, and many of us do this, we exercise constantly, do our best to take care of ourselves in Earth World constantly, right? But we totally miss the metaphysical stuff that we need to address, okay, in our lives, all right? So you're doing great in terms of the exercise and working on taking care of you. You could also revamp your diet if you want to, in terms of finding out what natural stuff isn't working for you if you wanted to, because that will also cause less inflammation and less reaction stuff, because all your habits and patterns or energies that are in you consciously and subconsciously in your soul, they also live in your DNA or your body, right? So what happens is they will come out, these things will come out in your physical reality, in your physical, if we don't address that. So my uncle is in the hospital with congestive heart failure, okay? And he was in a coma, and this is over the past 4 or 5 days, and we sent him angels and we sent him love, and we love him, but I have to give it to God, right? Because I love him, I wish him all the best, and we pray for him, right? But ultimately, right, every soul, it's their journey. So that said, I'm sharing his story with you guys so that everybody can understand how important it is to do what we love to do for us in our hearts. Okay, and how important it is when we don't get what we need for ourselves in our hearts, and how detrimental it is to our health, right? People think, oh, well, your uncle's getting old and he's just dying of old age. That's bullshit. This is a man who traveled all over the world and loved world travel, knew people from all over the world, right? And his thing was people, right? He just loved to go places and visit people. And you know what's so fucking funny? His birthday is Cancer Leo cusp, right? Or Leo Cancer cusp. So this is a guy who's in his heart. He loves, right? He travels all the time, is what he did before COVID-19. And here's the ass kicker, right? Traveled all over the world, loving people, doing his thing. And one of the things that is his favorite is that he lived before COVID and with this COVID shit in New York City. And I used to go stay there and visit him when I went to art college when I was younger. I went to school in New York City, right? And I would visit him. And New York was his thing. And he's a historian and he's all about this stuff, right? And New York was the love of his life. And as soon as my mother called me and told me that he was in the hospital with congestive heart failure, I knew why. Because New York City is dying with everything that's going on. The love of his life that his heart is all wrapped up in, that he's crazy about, he lives there, he can't go out. It's become not a healthy place at all because of what's going on in the world. And his heart is broken. And that's why this is happening. It's literally making him physically sick, right? So this is the gift for you. Not that this is going to happen to you. That's not what I'm saying at all. This is about you following your heart, getting in touch. What is it that you love to do? Truly, who is Teresa Courtney Lloyd, and what does she love to do for her? Right? Taurus is all about beautiful things for you, a great life for you, you know, and then take a look at your past because it brings it into your future, right? Which is the now, right? Meaning your 12th house. Your 12th house, what other placements you got there? Because this will give us more direction of the spaces to go. So look at the 12th house, look at the 2nd house, look at your Taurus placements, look at your Pisces placements, and then the houses that also, the signs that are also in those places, right? Just like your 6 is in Leo. Well, that tells me that this is about your heart, your health, and your heart, right? So you're doing the things you need to do in physical earth world, but what in the 12th house metaphysically are you not seeing? Like, look behind that Taurus sign. What is behind there? Did she tell you?
Not yet.
Okay, because what they're telling me is the signs that are also in there are where the secrets lie. All right. So what does that mean? You have Taurus. Everybody's going to look for the Taurus stuff, right? And the Taurus physical stuff. Like what does Venus, what parts of the body does Taurus and or Venus represent and guide or govern, right? Like Pisces can, one of the things Pisces co-governs and governs is the lymphatic system, right? Like Leo is the heart, but Uranus is your nervous system. And all three of these things, the lymphatic, the nervous system, and the heart all go together. So you could have different placements with this as well, right? But what they're telling me for you personally is to go backwards in your chart in that 12th house. You usually have more than one sign. If you don't, right, the answer is buried within the Taurus placements, right? So I would look in my second house, right? And I would look also back into my 6th, because your cusp house is what everybody focuses on, but the other parts you have in you as well, and they're like the secrets behind that. But then you have another aspects to you that are your subconscious chart, right? Your subconscious chart, right? Your progressed chart, and also you have past lives as well, right? Which is the governor in the 12th house, right? The 12th house governs these things. But what they're telling me is the secret lies behind the scenes with this particular placement. I feel like there's another placement in your 12th house. So if you're rising, if that's Taurus, then it may be in Gemini. Because you probably have a rising in Gemini, and that also they all hook together, the 12th, the 1st, and your rising. All right, so this is going to bring you to a lot of the metaphysical work to clear out, to heal, to do, to address, to learn about you, to figure out where is the truth of love for you in your heart, what needs to be healed, as well as what is it that you love to do? Like my uncle, when he can't travel anymore, and that's what God said to me, the second he couldn't travel and he couldn't go out in New York City, and New York City is being destroyed, I knew instantly that's why he's having heart failure, because his heart is all wrapped up in New York. You know, it's heartbreaking, but it's the truth of love, right? So same is true for you and all of us, right? If we don't do what we love and follow our hearts truly, and a lot of times we don't see it, we don't know, we're blocked by other things, and we think this is what we want, and then all of a sudden there's a shift in energy, and all of a sudden we're doing something else. Crazy shit, right? Amazing stuff, right? So because our soul leads us to these doorways and to our hearts, right? And thank you, God, for that for us. And last week we just talked about it, last Sunday night show on the Live Talk Forum, right? Taking your heart back, right? And then you can heal it emotionally, right? Because your heart is your most profound, powerful place. It's your passion, what you love. What is it that you love? Do you know? All right, girl. So you're actually doing really good. I know you asked me about some kind of supplement. What was the supplement or something that she's taking?
Tincture reishi.
I get it's all right. It's really it's okay. They're telling me it's not necessary. The heart work is more important. Doing the metaphysical energy work. And you can do it, because I know we've talked about stuff like this before in terms of doing the chart work, right? And we're going to look at doing more chart work and talk about this more into the future. If we don't talk about it on the Live Talk Forum, we're going to talk about it here too, and it might be both, right? To get to these placements and things that people have no idea, because again, everything is emotional. Everything is metaphysical. Emotion is the fuel, right, that manifests whatever it is, right? It's your gasoline in your car. It is the flame in your fire, right? It's, you can't not have it. It is the governing factor, right? That's why incredible sadness, incredible misery, incredible hurt, incredible hate causes miserable shit in our lives, right? And incredible love causes or creates amazing things in our lives, right? So this is about getting clear, excuse me, with our dreams and our hopes and what is ailing our heart. And so my uncle had that, which we talked about, and our hearts are not doing stuff for other people. Our hearts, we can do stuff for other people, but in the healthiest, best way, from love, not at the expense of ourselves, because then it becomes a deficit when we do. Okay? All right, girl. So the tincture is okay. It's not really necessary. If you feel like taking it, you can. I feel like you've done everything in like physical earth world that you can do, but it's time to go here. And that's what they're telling me. Okay, girl? You'll get this. You're super gifted. All right. So who's next?
Madeline Tihan. She
No.
says, "Hi, honey. I've been putting thieves on my feet and chest, drinking tea with thieves, and taking cell salts. Is there anything more or different you feel I could be doing, spiritually too? Also, when do you feel I will start to notice some relief? Thank you, and I love you." And then she comes back later on and says, "I've been experiencing throat and ear pain, by the way."
Throat and ear pain. All right. Funny stuff. Ears, nose, throat, right? Ears, nose, throat. All right. So she's having pains in this, and it's funny. That's the last thing she said. And where's that? What is this? This is like the house of your sinuses, as we all know, right? Your face, right? You have sinus infections, sinus stuff. Where are you congested? Where you can't hear for you, speak up for you, talk for you, listen for you, right? Anytime we have throat ailments, and that's Taurus, my friend, second house, right? Self-worth, self-love. So these are major placements to take a look at, along with, just like Teresa's stuff, what's behind the cusp sign, right? Like everyone says, I'll never forget when I discovered this, because I went into my chart and I was like, oh yeah, I did all this work already. I did all this work. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then one day I was like, you know what? Nobody ever talks about the rest of what's going on in the signs and everything. They talk about how everything works together and this and that, but they didn't really talk about, the placements or the other signs. And then one day I started looking into that with the universe and God, guided by higher knowing. And then I was like, holy shit, I have all this weirdo Sagittarius stuff that I would have never known because it was blocked by like 2 other houses or whatever, you know what I mean? And I was like, holy shit. I'm like, this is the demon of one of the ways that I behave that I was looking for, that I've been trying to get rid of forever energetically. And I'm like, boom, So this comes in for you too, baby, because you are a super gifted soul as well. Just like everybody who comes on here, man, you guys are amazing, amazing. And don't ever let anybody tell you you're not, because you are. You guys are stars. And the more you work with love, the better the star and more amazing the star you're going to be. And this is for all you guys. Okay, that said, I'm going to cry. I'm going to try not to cry and get emotional about it. I feel like you're doing good, but you, like Teresa, are doing all these things, and we really got to dive into the spaces that a lot of times we don't want to go, right? And the congestion tells you where you're congested in the areas where you can't speak. Well, where is that? That's also your third house. Your third house is governed by Mercury and Gemini. And guess what? This is Mercury Retrograde. So you're going back to an infection that you had in the past to revisit it so you can re-heal, or not necessarily re-heal, but re-look at anything that you could change that you might have missed with this Mercury retrograde season. If I'm not mistaken, I think you said it started today, didn't it?
Officially.
Yeah. And Mercury is all about communication, talking, listening, thinking, speaking, not just to other people, but for you. So anytime you have ears, nose, throat, sinuses, congestion also comes in with being too much in your head, not enough in your heart, right? Yeah, heart. Got to be in our hearts for us. So these are areas that you can work on. You're doing a great job, Madeline. They also tell me more rest. Sleep whenever you can, all right? Just even if it's like a cat nap, 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there, an hour, a little bit over here, okay? These things are really going to help you massively. And we all need that these days, rest, because we're going through so much stress. The other thing is some minerals. Liquid trace minerals will be really great because what's happening is we're all under so much stress. A perfect example is my uncle. My God, New York City is falling apart. And if you've ever been to New York City, it's beautiful. It used to be the beautiful, most amazing city in the world. It really was, right? Or really it is, and may it be that again. All right, and that said, I remember we went to see the Rockettes with my kids. We went to Rockefeller Center, and it's just, in Christmas time, you could walk all down and see all the shops and all the decorations back in the day. Absolutely stunning, right? And this is all about, being in your heart for you, right? And the things that you love. And when I see my uncle, it's no wonder all these things are dying, all these things are gone. So he's sad, right? So think about the things that make you happy in your heart, right? With all of this crazy stuff that is going on in your life and where you're not getting your needs met, because the new world is about being in your heart, right? Being in your heart, just like my uncle, everything's being destroyed in New York City, and so his heart is hurting. His heart is hurting. All right, and there was something else going on with this. Thank you, God, for me bringing it in. I know I went over here in a different direction, guided by universe. So what else is there that comes in for Maddie? Did she ask something else, Jen? I just want to recap on that little question that she just asked.
Just what else can she do so that she feels better?
Yeah, and rest, right? And doing things that you love to do, right? Make sure you put the time aside for you to do the things that you love to do, right? Like go to New York City and enjoy that day. Spend time for you. Self-care, self-nurturing is not just taking a shower and getting your nails done, let's say. So that might be great for somebody else. Like people used to say to me, Lynn, you need to go on a vacation. You need to take a break from working so much. But when you love what you do, then it's not something you need to take a break from. Yeah, sometimes it's good for me to rest or good for me to go someplace or go on a vacation. Yeah, but I'll know governed by my heart. And it's not in the traditional way necessarily that they teach us in Earth World. Self-care is sometimes reading a book, sometimes just laying down. Sometimes it's going to be having a little piece of something that you shouldn't be eating. You know what I mean? It's like you got to live too, right? And it's a balance. It's a balance from love, right? So doing things that you love to do. You can't do everything for everybody all the time. You got to say, okay, what do I need? Do I need to lay down and get some rest because I'm not feeling good? Or what kind of a dessert would I like? Or what kind of dinner would I like? All this stuff is about having your needs met, taking care of you. What do you love to do? Do you like to make jewelry? Do you like to DoorDash? Do you like to just go for a walk? Do you like to watch a certain TV show? All this stuff is about nurturing you, loving you, taking care of you, not just the physical body stuff. And it could be dressing up and feeling good about you, getting a new pair of shoes to feel good about you, right? All of these things. Think about what you like. And the same thing for you, Teresa. Think about the nice things that you would like to have or do. And start treating yourself. We're all so busy taking care of everybody else because this is the Earth World way. Just like when they came out with the COVID shit, right? What are they telling you to do? They're telling you to get a vax to save your neighbor. You shouldn't be thinking about you. What a crock of shit that is. If there's no you, there is no life. There is no neighbor. There is no nothing for you. It's insane. You can't stop your neighbor from getting sick. It's their soul journey, not yours, right? It doesn't mean you wish them harm. Nobody wants anybody harmed. But the bottom line is the only person you're responsible for is you. And you got to speak up for you. You got to listen to you. You got to hear what your heart is saying. You got to do nice things for you. Doesn't mean you shit all over people. It means you follow your heart. You talk to God. You talk to love. And if you're supposed to do something, you do it. But you don't fax to go somewhere, meaning to save somebody else. That's not how it works. That's like saying, and there's been some funny memes on the fucking Facebook and Instagram and all these places. I'm kind of radical with my posts, right? But and they're funny, right? But they're also truth of God more often than not. They're truth of God, not just funny, right? And what am I saying by this? Let me just put it together here. For example, I'm not going to wear a diaper because for my child who can't use the toilet yet. Do you know what I mean? Or wear a coat for my neighbor who's sick. Do you see what I'm saying? This makes no sense at all, right? But by taking care of you and loving you, then you're able to give to other people from love. That's the grand design of God and love, right? Nature, God, love takes care of itself, right? And it's about staying in your own garden. You can do great things for people, but you must balance from love. Remember that. If the lion doesn't eat, there's nothing else. There's nothing for him and he dies, right? And if there's no lion, there's no life, there's no neighbors, there's no pack or pride, there's no friends, because this is truth of God or love. If you have nothing in your cup, you're in a little bit of trouble. You know what I mean? All right. Okay, Maddie, so I'm sure that will help you. We'll dive into your chart. We'll look at all this stuff. The biggest core stuff that comes in is hardcore placements of the past, Pisces stuff, but it's all intertwined with this, and it's also intertwined with the father figure. That's some Taurus energy for you personally as well. Okay, baby? All right. Love you, girl. All right, so who's next?
The next question is from Steve in the audience. He wants to know why.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for coming.
Why doesn't he do things that he knows works for him, such as hip flexor stretching, prayer, vitamins and minerals, essential oils, etc.?
All right. Yeah, the biggest things that come in for you with this, Steve wants to know why we don't take care of ourselves in his particular thing. One of the biggest reasons is there's actually two. This has to do with your Aries placements. Why? Aries is the baby of the zodiac. Babies do whatever the fuck they want, and they don't want to do this, and they don't want to do that, and they can't do this, and they just can't, you know what I mean? And so a baby can't do what it takes to take care of itself. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. And then the other thing is, that's just one of the things. So any Aries placements with that. The other thing that also comes in with this, and there was a couple of them, is your traditional ones that we would know as you. Your Uranus. Uranus is an energy that's fuck wild. And that energy, when it's not in its healthiest place, doesn't serve anybody. You know what I'm saying? And so that comes in too with that Aries energy. So this is like intertwined. Okay? And that Aries energy with the Uranus, what it says is, let me just see, because there's words that I was looking for. Thank you, God, for that for us right now, for Steve. The God's honest truth here with this Uranus energy. Uranus is an energy that does whatever the fuck it wants to do, and it has no boundaries, and it's a wild energy. And that it's the best way to liken it is like to wild horse energy. Do you know what I'm saying? It moves, it rocks, it rears, it jumps, and it runs like hell at 100 million miles an hour, and it's so beautiful, and it's so amazing, and it just goes berserk, right? And it's electrical. So there's no rhyme or reason. So it's very hard to get a rhyme or reason when you're with an energy that naturally doesn't have that. Does that make sense? And you have so much of that in you. Do you see? So this is some of that, but also, ready? Sagittarius placements. The freedom lover in you as well. Uranus is about freedom. All right. Aquarius is about freedom. Sagittarius is about freedom. Jupiter is about freedom. And abundance, right? Abundance, lots of freedom. So all of these things are about the freedom to do whatever the fuck I want when I want to do. And then on top of that, the earth world restrictions, right, that they're trying to take away put extra stress on top of that and make everybody say, I'm just going to fucking do what I want to do when I want to do it anyways. You know what I mean? And that's human nature. That's the nature of God, because love is freedom, right? So these are some of our inner challenges. And me having my Aquarius house intercepted, oh yeah, I got similar challenges too, man. Similar challenges, Aquarius and Leo, man. That second and eighth house where I have my shit, because I want to do what I want to do, and I've always been this way. And sometimes it's challenging, absolutely, because we need to be able to care for ourselves, in the healthiest, best way. So what we're going to do is ask God to have the healthiest way of these placements, clear all the energy that is all of this in us, put the best way to be from love in place of this for all of us, gifts, tools, love, energy, magic from all of these things, clear, heal, and change any and all blocks, toxic, emotional, unwellness, any energy that does not serve us is not the healthiest, best place of love in us, in all that we are, be, say, do, and create. That is all of this that we talked about. And for everybody on the show tonight, clear, heal, and change, and release all this emotionally, in the healthiest, best way, and in all ways, and put the best way to be from love in place of this now, please, in the purest form, in this reality, any reality, and all that is. And thank you, God, for these gifts for Steve and all of us now, please, in the best way for us to know something better. And thank you, God, for that for us. So as soon as we start to do that, words and thoughts create. We ask and we shall receive. We send that energy out, and this starts to happen. So you will start to get a handle on it and start to take better care of you. Within the next 2 to 3 weeks, you should notice more changes, but also more placements will now come up that are interrelated to this energetically for you to remove and take out, because you've already done the energetic work, and your soul will just release that stuff, and you say, thanks, love, for me being free of this, but the best way to be in place of this. So don't think, oh my God, I'm having this bad thought again, or I don't want to take care of myself. Think about that this is just the stuff coming out of your soul, your energy, to release and heal it in your DNA and in all that you are, so that you can be your best well you, and guided by everything we just asked God for. See what I'm saying? And thank you, God, for that for all of us, right? Yeah. Cool shit. So that's why when people say to me, oh, God doesn't answer my prayers. Oh, yes, God does. God always answers your prayers. Not necessarily in the way that you think. And if you don't know how all of God works, then it's never going to be in the way that you think, right? Because you're thinking it's like this, when really it's like this. So when I ask God for something, I know it's coming, even when I don't fucking understand it, right? Even when I'm like really sick of my family, I know this is in my best interest. So why? So I could get to the bottom of all my healing for me. And I'm still working on my shit, and I know it's happening, but still, it's not, my finger isn't better completely yet, right? But the bottom line is, I'm working with God, I'm doing what I need to do, and the changes are happening, right? So I'm going to see these results, right? Because you will see it. Like, people think, I want this, like yesterday. And they go, oh, I want to win the lottery. And it doesn't happen, right? And they wonder why it doesn't happen, because there's a whole way that universe works that you got to know about. And once you put that out there, you got to clear all the shit in you that doesn't think that you deserve or could ever win the lottery to begin with, right? And not only do you got to do that, but you got to do work on your self-worth, your second house. And you got to take a look at all your bullshit that is not the healthiest space of you, that doesn't allow you abundance, right? So while you think it's not working, it's because you got a load of shit going on, and it is working. It just takes time. You want to see it? You don't believe this is happening or what I'm saying is true? Ask God that you see it. Ask God that you know it's happening. Ask God that you see the changes in you. Ask God that you feel it. You know it. You do it. You get it. You understand it, right? If I don't see and know what's going on, I'm like, okay, God, where is it? What's going on? What do I need to know? How do I change this? What do I do? Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. All the time. Just like me with my finger. The very first thing I started to notice is we change things, right? What happens is I start to release stuff emotionally since this began, and my finger starts to feel better and get better. And then my soul releases more shit, and it gets a little shitty again. And I'm like, motherfucker. I'm like, but this is all part of my learning. Why? For myself and to heal me, as well as tell you guys and teach you guys the God's honest truth so you can fucking be well. And we can be well in a world where they're trying to fucking kill us. This is nuts. And we have dreams for our children and our kids and our best health, but this is all where we're going, a higher knowing of love. And so all these solutions and healthcare stuff is now and into the future, right? Because it has to happen, because we can never truly be well in just little bits and pieces and parts of being well, right? Like they do in medicine, right? They say, well, let's treat your heart. Let's treat your knee. Let's treat your toenail. Your skin is bothering you, or your head. Let's treat that too. And they treat them completely separate, and they don't know how to put things together, because they all go together in the grand design of God. And so more often than not, when we have ailments over and over, they're super complex, super complex, and they can't get to the bottom of them because they're not looking at the whole picture. They're just looking at one little piece. Can't heal you with just this, right? That's why you got to talk to God or love, because God is infinite. So these doctors, if they ain't doing what we do, you're never going to get to those spaces. Doesn't mean they can't help you. They absolutely can. But it's your job to be your best advocate and ask God for the best doctors, the best gifts, the best tools and best solutions and everything you need from love. Whether they're homeopathic, holistic, traditional earth world doctors, whatever it is that you need from love. Because the grand design of all that is God is everything is designed here to bring you your best health and happiness and well-being, right? So one thing is never better than the other. It's what is best for you in the moment of the now when you're sick or not feeling well. That's what's best for your health care. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's super unique to you, right? What I told Teresa was super unique to her. This is super unique to Steve. You may, like, just like me, I have similar placements and stuff going on like Steve, but yet I'm uniquely different. That's the nature of God. It's infinite. And that's what makes us so special and so gifted. That's why Steve loves what he does and I love what I do. And I'm not trying to be Steve and he's not trying to be me. Both of us is living our greatest lives, right? To follow our hearts and be in those spaces. This is also the same reason why, if you talk to other people, they have different interests than you, and you're not even interested in what they do. You know what I mean? Because your job, excuse me, is to be interested in what you do and love, right? My job isn't to be Steve. Right? And my job certainly isn't to get in his fucking business either, right? But that's another day. All right, so we'll talk about that maybe on Sunday. Staying in your garden and other people's shit, how to stay out of their stuff, right? Okay, is that Debbie on there? Debbie Akers? Hi, Debbie Akers, I see you there. Thank you for coming, and thank you everybody for coming. Okay, is that good for you? Hold on. All those placements, any aspects in your chart, both in your natal, your subconscious.
I totally see this Aries stuff. Like, I want someone else to massage me and stretch me rather than exercise. I want someone else to pay for my nutrients. I still want someone to take care of me, basically, and not do my shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's clear, heal, and change all that. Wanting somebody to take care of us all the time and take care of ourselves in the best way and have all these gifts in the best way that we're talking about here from love. And anything unhealthy and unwell, and that is all of this, clear, heal, and change it in our souls and let us be free of it emotionally, energetically, and in all ways from love in the purest form, in this reality, any reality, and all that is. The other thing, the Chiron. Debbie Akers bought a great book on the Chiron to class this week, and we were going to do Debbie's birthday celebration, and I so apologize, Debbie. Happy birthday. I hope you had a great time, and we're going to celebrate next week. You know it. All right. Everybody has gifts for you. Okay. And let me get back to Steve here. We just clear all of that out. Thank you, God, for that for us. And we all have variations of all of this going on in us. We release all this, put the healthiest, best way to be from love, and all of this changes. Okay? And nothing is bad. Do you see what I'm saying? But, our Chiron is what causes these things. Our Black Moon Liliths, right? And any kind of placements that you could look through in your chart where anything is at a deficit. But what I do is, with the God astrology that I do, I say, okay, God, where do I need to look for what's ailing me? In my chart, in what placement, what's the most important placement to heal me now, energetically in my chart, right? Ooh, rocket God, right? So you can do that just as well as I can, as can you guys, right? Ask and you shall receive. You create your reality. You want to know where your metaphysical shit is? It's right there. Ask God, ask love. Where are the placements that are making me sick? Just like where are the placements that make me go out with guys that are toxic for me, right? Same thing, right? What's going on in me that isn't healthy for me in my chart energetically that's causing me to be sick into my stomach, let's say, right? All the things that you can't stomach. Right? So what rules the digestive system in astrology? Take a look at all those placements, right? And many times it's multiple signs and multiple aspects depending on what's going on, right? All right, because the more complex the soul, the more complex the stuff. Same thing with the illnesses, right? You can't treat just one thing. It's multiple. How much time do we have left, guys?
It's 8:15.
Okay, it is 8:15, right? Wow, that went really fast, didn't it? So I hope everybody's happy tonight. Loved our show. Really amazing stuff. We're going to be back here every Friday at 7:15. So get your questions together. If we didn't answer them now, please bring them back next week. We're also going to be here 7:15 and in what, a day and a half? 2 days, right? Sunday night for our live talk forum, and you're more than welcome to bring these questions there as well. But this particular forum is the 6 and 12 Medical Intuitive, and this is designed for any and all your health questions, all right? But you can also bring them to the forum at 7:15 on Sunday nights, anything you want to ask. Thank you, Deb. And thank you, everybody, for coming. I had a great time. If you can donate to us, great, or share our stuff to help support our work, because the more we get to the God's honest truth of healing, the more everybody gets well in all ways and is truly happy. And thanks all for coming. I love you guys. Have a great night and a fantastic weekend.